What's going on, everybody? It's GameUnboxingReviews here, and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel Avengers news update. Now, in this video, I have a bunch of stuff to talk about. We got some new vehicle announcements, not necessarily Marvel vehicles, but they are vehicles and they're still cool. We got some new features to talk about, which is very exciting, such as Stan Lee. Yes, Stan Lee has even more abilities that we don't know of yet. One of them that I'm going to talk about is very cool indeed, but there could be more that we don't know about. We also have some new characters, 2 new characters, plus we also get a new Iron Man suit as well, which has been announced. Sadly, I don't have a screenshot of it, but it's been confirmed, and it's a very cool one as well. And finally, I also have a bunch of screenshots to show, and it's very exciting indeed. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so first off, here we have some brand new vehicles that have been revealed for LEGO Marvel's Avengers. Now, like I said, these aren't necessarily Marvel vehicles, but it's still pretty cool. And the gameplay you're seeing right here is actually from LEGO Marvel Superheroes, just so you know. I don't want to, confuse some people, but they're all in the game, which is great. So, first off, we got the fire truck, which is nice. We also see the fire truck, I think, in some gameplay or something. It's driving about, and it's actually got its sirens on. So, could that be a diversion or something like that we get to intervene in? Maybe there's, like, burning buildings or something that we can stop, we can save people from, or things like that. That would be amazing, but we'll have to see. Then we also have the ambulance, which is great to see again. That is also seen in, I think, 2 screenshots now. You can see that with the sirens on, so it has to be doing something, maybe it's just driving around, I don't know, that's fine. If we just see the ambulance and it's literally just driving around the city over and over again, I guess that's fine, because it does add life to it. But imagine if you followed it and it actually stopped and helped someone or something like that. That would be so cool. And finally, we also have the police car. The police car is back. I think I showed that in one of the previous videos. I showed, me driving around the police car just as an example. But yes, the police car is back, as you can see here, but also lots more vehicles like that. Normal vehicles will be like that in the game as well, which is great. And of course, a bunch of Marvel ones, which is awesome. And this game's going to get DLC packs, so even more probably. Now then, another great thing vehicle wise is the train. Now, I was really hoping to see the train from LEGO Marvel Superheroes come back, because I always love just running around, catching the train, and just admiring the city. I just think that was such a cool feature to the game, and really did add life to it. It really made the world feel alive. And this time around, the author has said, they're really pushing that. They want the city to feel really alive, with lots of pedestrians and different kinds of vehicles, sirens going off, random crimes around the city, all that kind of stuff. And thankfully, I can say that the train is back, so you will still be able to see the train, going around the city, which is great, but you can also ride it, which is awesome. Now, obviously, we all know that LEGO Marvel's Avengers has a bunch of hub worlds in the game, and it's all very exciting, and I can't wait to explore all of them. However, I think my most anticipated one right now is still LEGO New York City, because it's just the amount of attention to detail and things they've added this time around is crazy. And one of the brand new things that they've recently revealed is the Shield Helicarrier. Now, we already know this. We already knew the Shield Helicarrier was back. We can still go on top of it, walk around, and we can still skydive off the top of it, like in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, which is great. But it's also being recently confirmed that we can still go inside it. So yes, you will be able to go inside the Shield Helicarrier. Now, to me, that's crazy, because we can go in New York City. I'm just talking about New York City for now, not counting all the other hubs. But New York City alone, we now know we can go all around that city, which is great. But we also know we can go inside Avengers Tower, and now the Shield Helicarrier. There could be more interiors in that open world alone, but that's crazy. One of the things I wanted to see the most in LEGO Marvel Superheroes was Stark Tower as an interior, but the fact that we now have what we had in the first game and something new is that's just really cool. Now, you've probably heard more about random crimes from me than anybody else, because I'm just so excited for that one feature, and I just can't stop talking about it. And one of the things I was worried about, because basically when I thought about the idea of random crimes and when it was actually announced, it blew my mind. I was thinking, okay, what could be wrong with it? And everything that I thought of was debunked. Everything that I was worried about, I didn't need to worry about anymore, because they were like, no, it's not like that at all, which is great. And one of the things I was worried about is how seamless it is. Do you just, like, let's say for example, I'm flying around the city as Iron Man, and all of a sudden I see a bank robbery. Do I fly to that bank robbery and then have to sit through a loading screen to get into a cutscene to get into the robbery? Or do I just fly to a bank robbery, take out the bank robbers, and fly off, and not have to deal with any loading screens? It's just completely seamless. basically just like how it was in Spider-Man 2 on PS2. You know, you'd see some bank robber, or, well, not bank robbers because I don't think they had those, but you'd see like some thugs and you could go take them out, and you could literally just take one out and swing away. It was entirely up to you. There was nothing stopping you from ignoring them or anything like that. There was no penalties to it or anything, which is great. And Arthur previously said there's no penalties in this one as well, which is great. It clearly seems to me like they've been looking at previous games and doing their history, which is great. But recently Arthur actually described them as fun, simple interactions, and that is exactly what I was hoping for. Fun, simple interactions. That's what random crimes should be. They're optional and seamless, fun, simple interactions. If you're flying around and you see a bank robber, you should be able to choose whether you want to, you know, intervene or not, because this is your game. You're playing the game. You want to play how you want to play, and I just think it's fantastic that they've done that. I mean, random crimes sound amazing now, especially since we know that you can do them as any character. I think this is going to make a huge impact on the overall replay value of the game, and I think we're all going to have a lot of fun with it. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to be talking about some brand new screenshots which showcase some of the characters we've already revealed, plus we're going to move on to some of the new characters that have been revealed today, as well as a new Iron Man suit as well. So, first off, here we have Iron Stan, which is of course one of two of the Iron Man suits that you can use in the game with Stan Lee, and that is of course the Iron Stan and the Stan Buster, which is great to see. We can also see in the background, we can see a Stark Industries billboard, we can see a purpley pink car. We can also see a bus as well, and that bus was from LEGO Marvel Superheroes, so it's great to see that back as well. And the city looks awesome, you know, it's great. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think if I'm right, that is actually Liberty Island over there, so I guess that confirms the Statue of Liberty. That's a stupid thing to say as well, I know, because obviously you would expect to see the Statue of Liberty in this game anyway, because it was in the first one, but still, it's nice to have a confirmation. Now, one thing I forgot to mention about this suit quite a long time ago was my friend Simeon. He actually figured out that this does look a lot, if not identical, to the actual suit from the comics that Iron Man won. It was the gold one. It basically looks like this, you know, the Mark 1 kind of design, but gold. And he was saying, what if they actually have that in the game? This is just a repaint of it to match Stan's colors, you know, Stan's clothes in the game, but it's all gold for Tony, and we can unlock it later on. I think that would be great. I think that would be really cool, because if you think about it, they're not just celebrating the MCU, you know, they're not celebrating just the Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're celebrating all of the Avengers. And there was that article that said that Superior Iron Man is in the game, and that's a comic book suit. So honestly, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of seeing the really cool gold one from the comics either. Here we can see Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, in the Korea level. Not much to really say about this picture in particular, but it's still pretty cool. Personally, I've always loved the designs that they give Black Widow in the actual movies, and in the games, you know, they look great as well. But I think it would be really, really cool to see the classic Black Widow as well, you know, the classic ones that we see in the comics and stuff like that. I'm actually thinking that might be in the main game, there might be special missions based on some of the old comics. Can you imagine that, where you get to play as like Iron Man in his gold suit and Cap in his old clothes, and like a really bright green Hulk with purple pants? I just think that would be really cool, but you know, we will just have to wait and see. Now here we can see a very cool screenshot of Fin Fang Foom standing in New York City, and behind him we can also see a nice look at Times Square. Now Times Square was obviously in the first game, you know, it was in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, but it's still great to see it again here. I mean, I love LEGO New York City so much in that game. That's probably my favourite hub world in a LEGO game today, and this is easily going to beat it. I mean, the amount of stuff in it is crazy. Now, judging from what I can see from here, it doesn't look that different. It probably just looks exactly the same, to be honest, but who knows? Maybe because these are early, you know, photos, early build of the game, then they'll have new billboards and stuff like that. Because if you look at them, I think there's different billboards in a load of different screenshots. I think there's one that's a reference to Daredevil, and then there's one that's reference to Stark Industries and all that kind of stuff. So there is definitely new billboards. So chances are that Times Square will look a little different, but it looks great and modern. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up, is with this screenshot in particular, I really noticed that the city's starting to look a lot more like New York City. And what I mean by that is, yes, I know it's the same area from LEGO Marvel Superheroes, but now that we don't have things like the X-Mansion, the Baxter Building, the Daily Bugle, what else, Oscorp Tower, you know, all that kind of stuff, now that we don't have any of that, it's starting to look a lot more like New York City to me. And of course, you know, they're trying to add a lot more landmarks that we're used to from New York City and things like that. It just looks great. It really does. We can see a bunch of people walking around, traffic as normal, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, chances are, you know, depending on which system you're on, there'll probably be more or less traffic and people and stuff like that, which is great. And again, you know, these look like old photos. These look like old screenshots from an early build of the game. So who knows, maybe there's even more people and vehicles and all that kind of stuff walking around and driving around. We will just have to wait and see. Here we have two really cool screenshots of Devil, Dinosaur and Moon Boy, which look really great. We can see here they're of course in Central Park. Not much to really say here. I can't see a lot. Of course you can see, you know, there's characters walking around, there's vehicles, there's traffic. It's still got the picnic tables and everything, which is cool, from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. But yeah, it doesn't seem that different, but it still looks very cool. Here we can see an extremely cool screenshot of Loki in LEGO Marvel's Avengers outside one of the mission areas. This is the area from the first Avengers movie where Loki is basically trying to get into somewhere with Hawkeye, and what Loki does is he puts this really horrible machine on this guy's eye, and it's just horrible, and it basically copies the print of his eye and it sends it to Hawkeye. And also, of course, we see that Iron Man and Captain America come down and help one another to defeat Loki. Loki kind of gives up though pretty easily, and we can also see as well, I think Black Widow, I think she's in one of the Quinjets as well. So yeah, it's cool to see Loki in this. Obviously, you know, we know there's going to be quite a few versions of Loki that you can be able to play as in the game, and this is just one of them. You'll be able to play as the Avengers one, which is of course the one with the helmet, which is great, the one Horn's helmet. You're going to be able to play as this one, and you're going to be able to play as the one which is basically the same as the one with the horns of the helmet, but no helmet, just like in Thor the Dark World. So it's great to have that many different versions of Loki, and who knows, maybe he'll have lots of new abilities, because Arthur did say that every character that appeared in the first game is going to have more abilities, so it'll be interesting to see if they have updated Loki this time round. Here we can actually see a screenshot from Vision. I don't think we've seen any screenshots of Vision so far until today. Now this is really cool indeed, because I absolutely love Vision. I can't wait to play as him in this game. He was amazing in the movie. Paul Bettany did an incredible job with that character. Can't wait to see him in Civil War as well. But yeah, he looks great here. He really does. Question is though, where is he? I can't work it out. I can't work out what area that is right now. I mean, maybe one of you guys can. Let me know in the comment section below what you think this area could be, but it certainly does look cool. Again, I just want to make it perfectly clear that what you're seeing right here is from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Anyway, it's been recently confirmed that Stan Lee has a bunch of abilities in this game alone. I mean, it's crazy. He's got stuff from Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, all sorts. And of course Iron Man, we know that he can transform into Stan Lee's Iron Man, you know, the Iron Stan, and also Stan Buster. And those are really cool, and I know a lot of people really like those things, but a lot of people were saying, you know, that's great and all, but doesn't that mean that he can't transform into Stan Hulk? And I was starting to think, actually, how are they going to do that? Because if you think about it, judging by what we've seen of Stan Lee, he'd be able to have all the Avengers abilities, but it wouldn't make sense not having the Hulk, you know, not having the Hulk's abilities. But it has been confirmed that yes, he can still transform into Stan Hulk. This is amazing, because I really didn't think they'd be able to add all three of them. So now Stan Lee can transform into three things, or suit up I guess. He can turn into Iron Stan, Stan Buster, and Stan Hulk. And this is great, because not only do we get Stan Hulk from the first game, although it might be different now. Maybe they're going to use the skin tone that they have in the recent Avengers sets instead. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but you know, it'll be cool either way, because I like the green skin from the first one anyway. But yeah, so basically, since we now have that, that's another character we can super jump around the city and wall climb with, and I just think that's really great. And plus, there's probably more things we don't know that Stan can do yet that is probably really, really cool, and I can't wait to see what they are. Now, before we move on to the last part of the video, which is of course going to be the two new character reveals, I have one more new Iron Man suit to announce for LEGO Marvel's Avengers. So right here you can see the Mark 25 Iron Man suit, which is one of the suits that Tony Stark will be able to suit up into in the game, which is great. Now this suit was built for helping in heavy construction. Now one of the things it does is it actually pulverizes concrete with its jackhammers, and it also specializes in raw power. Now me and my friend Simeon were actually having a conversation on Twitter. We were saying, you know, I wonder if the Mark 25 Iron Man suit has the jackhammers, because I think this was announced, or it was at least seen in the grid, in the character grid, and everyone was like, oh, that's definitely the Mark 25. But people were wondering, you know, are the jackhammers going to be in the game? And a lot of people were certain they would be. And me personally, I wasn't. I just thought, why would they add them in the game? I just thought they're going to have to figure out some way to use them. And Arthur was like, of course they're in the game. So there you go. The jackhammers do come with the Mark 25, and that is great. But the question is, how will we use them? My guess is what you have to do is, you know, you go up to one of those walls that the Hulk can smash, but you can actually use the Mark 25 as well. That's going to be amazing. I mean, Iron Man is going to be so useful now, what with all his different suits and everything. And Alpha did say that a lot of the suits do have different abilities and different purposes, so that's great to see. And also, I would love to see a move just like in the movie that we see with the Mark 25, where you can, you know, hit the ground and then all the enemies just go flying. I think that would be really cool. And of course, there's plenty more Iron Man suits that we don't know about yet, and I can't wait to hear about them. Still hoping for Mark II and the Gemini suit, because I just really want those suits in the game. Alright, so first off of the two character reveals, we have Swordsman. Now, Swordsman is a very cool character, and when I first saw him, I had no idea who he was. No idea whatsoever. And honestly, I didn't really like the look of him at first, because he's quite he's not well known to me. But the cool thing is, when I did a lot of reading, I actually started to really like the character. So he's actually a former villain and criminal, and believe it or not, he's also the master to Hawkeye. So that's pretty cool in itself. Now, the character doesn't necessarily have any powers, but he does tend to use knives when he's got nothing else to use. I don't think he'll use knives in the game. I think he'll just have his sword, as you can see in the screenshots, but that's still pretty cool. Now, the sword, he's actually a master swordsman, which is great, and apparently he wields a sword modified by the Mandarin that shoots out lightning, it shoots fire, a stun ray, a stun gas, and lethal rays. So that sounds like a pretty cool looking sword. Now, the sword that we can see here, I don't know if that's the actual sword that it's describing there. You know, if you're a fan of Swordsman, maybe you know, but I don't know so far because we haven't seen him in action. But it still looks like a cool sword, and if it can do all that stuff, then that's very cool indeed. Alright, so last but not least, before we wrap this video up, I of course have one more character to reveal, and it is of course Count Nefaria. Now, Count Nefaria is an extremely cool character who I had no idea of. I didn't know a single thing about this character like Swordsman, but again, start doing some reading and you start to think he's really cool. He is a very cool character. Now, before I talk about his awesome abilities, I don't know if they're in the game, but you know, this is what you find out online, and most likely will be in the game, but his design is awesome. I absolutely love that costume. I just think he looks super cool, and I can't wait to play as him in the game. So this guy is a professional criminal and is capable of tremendous power, such as super strength, superhuman speed, flight, the ability to fire lasers from his eyes, and apparently he also has an impressive regenerative ability that allows him to heal himself quicker than most. So he sounds like an extremely powerful character, and I can't wait to play as him. Now, he's also fought the Avengers many times, I think, so it makes sense to have him in the game, which is great. Now, Swordsman and Count Nefaria, I'm really glad they were announced. I think they're really cool, and I don't mind the obscure characters. I think it's great, and it really allows me to learn more about the Marvel Universe. Because I thought I knew a lot already, but no, you don't. You don't know a lot until you start getting these obscure characters, and you find out while they aren't in much media, they're still super cool. But I really hope they start announcing some of the more well-known characters, because I would have thought that after the Civil War trailer release, which was amazing, by the way, I hope you all saw it because it was incredible, but I thought after that was revealed, they were going to reveal Black Panther, or something like that, or Baron Zemo, or Ant-Man, or Giant Man. Just, I would really like to see Ant-Man, Black Panther, Wasp, Giant Man, any of that would be really great to see. But you know, that'll all be well worth the wait, and I'm sure when they do show it's going to be extremely cool. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. I mean, that is all the LEGO Marvel's Avengers news that we know of so far to this day, you know, taken from Twitter, taken from screenshots and all that kind of stuff. So that's all we know so far. But PlayStation Experience is coming up soon, and Arthur Parsons is actually going to be there, so who knows, maybe we're going to get a trailer, gameplay, screenshots, anything. Even DLC announcements, which I really hope for, because I'm just dying to know what DLC packs they have planned for this incredible game. And also, I think another thing, somebody asked about about a developer diary, and I think Arthur said maybe next month, so we might be getting a developer diary or something next month, you know, in December, so that should be really cool. I would love to see a developer diary where they talk about just how in depth the open world is now, how many areas we can go to both in New York and all the other places, showcase some of the random crimes, how they all work, all that kind of stuff I'd really like to see, so fingers crossed they show that. Alright guys, so I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos real soon, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.